2023 at 9 a.m. The Baker County Board of Commissioners is now in session. Dear Father in heaven, I ask that you come into these chambers and guide us as we lead. Please be with those who are not with us today. And as I always ask, please guide our words, our thoughts, and our actions. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda changes and adoptions. What did we add, delete?
Everything that's on there is what's on there.
Okay, good. Citizen participation. This is for anything that's not on the agenda. If anyone has anything they'd like to speak to.
Morning, Commissioners. My
Good
name
morning.
is Curtis Martin, North Powder, Oregon, but I am on the Baker side. So I'm glad to be a resident now since of last November 1st. So appreciate the opportunity to be here. A couple of things I wanted to address real quickly. I wanted to really support Commissioner Witham's position on the BIC and this forest revision plan. To be blunt and straightforward, she's basically the only one that's representing the grassroots feelings on that group. I've been with her a couple of times. I've participated in one of the sessions, and I got to tell you, it's designed to eliminate public participation. I'm speaking directly to the BIC. I'm very disgusted, very disappointed in the manner in which they're conducting those meetings. It gives the lip service of having public input. You're allowed 2 minutes to give a brief description. You're allowed no interaction with the members of that council or committee, whatever it's called. So the interaction of public is very limited. But I just want to really encourage Bruce, you and Shane to support Christina in her position and the dedication that she has to this, because I can tell you truthfully, she's representing the grassroots heartfelt needs and desires of the community. So I wanted to say that. So thank you for allowing me to say that in on the record. The other thing, I kind of had a question. I'm here wanting to learn more about the food sovereignty ordinance. Is there going to be any, I mean, I know that Arthur is giving a presentation. Will there be any chance to have a little discussion about that, or is it out of, because I'd like to hear the presentation and then maybe give a comment on that also,
Sure.
if that would be allowed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I'll sit down then. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Curtis.
Commissioner Witham, is the BIC committee, are they taking like written testimony, or
Not yet.
they're not? Okay.
Anybody can submit written testimony to the team has been formed to write the plan right now.
Okay,
And that's at the Willow Whitman headquarters.
right, okay.
It's through there, or I suppose you could get the leads contact through the BIC committee, but not yet. I mean, and you can always submit, but it doesn't mean that they're going to consider
Right,
that.
right.
But they're once they do get to that point of public comment, then I'll make sure that
Okay.
everybody knows that.
Good, okay. Anyone else for public comment? Anybody online? Okay, move on to review and approval of minutes for July 19th, 2023.
And I did not see anything on there. There was a lot.
I looked through it and it looked right to me.
Me as well. So I'll make a motion that we approve July 19th, 2023 Commission Board minutes as written.
Well, second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Right, on to public hearing for amending ordinance I-84-1, 2005 to 4 Northern Baker Transportation Improvement Plan. Since this is a continuing public hearing, I will reopen that public hearing. I'll continue the public hearing.
Yep, good morning. I'm here to ask for a continuance on this matter again. Just, I guess, for everybody's background, there was a plan that was drafted and it's still in draft form for 10th Street, Cedar Street and Hughes Street. The county has an interest because of the portion of Hughes as well as the intersections that are outside of the city limits. And so the plan went so far and then the county held off on adoption because they wanted to be sure the city would also adopt and we didn't have disparate versions going on. And so the city hasn't made any movements to adopt. And so we've been continuing the hearing, kind of waiting to see if that wraps up for the city and make sure we don't end up with two different versions of a plan. And so there again hasn't been any movement on that. And I don't know if there will be, but I'm asking that the commissioners continue this till November 1st at 9 a.m.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
Make a motion that we continue this meeting until what date?
November 1st at 9 a.m.
November 1st at 9 a.m.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anybody online? Saying none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We will push this out to November 1st. And we'll continue it until November 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to add one little additional comment here. Folks, there is rumors going around that we're putting roundabouts in, and no, we're not. So please don't spread that around that we are putting roundabouts in, because we are not. So, nobody's supporting that. So,
Thank you.
I get jumped about that all the time. It's kind of funny.
All right, up next, food sovereignty ordinance proposal, Arthur Savington. We're continuing it forever.
Yeah, they're working on 10th Street on the sidewalks today.
Oh, okay.
Actually, because 10th and E, on the corner of 10th and E, they're doing that.
Oh,
The version
ADA.
coming out of the parking lot.
right.
My name's Arthur Sappington and I reside 3055 10th Street, apartment I, here in Baker City. And I'm as the president of Snake River Music Gardens, which is a nonpartisan, non-political 501c3 nonprofit registered in the state, and we have the unique sponsorship that we got our 501c3 within 5 days of our submitting for it. So
Oh, wow.
we do our paperwork quite clear and straight. We're here in support and sponsoring the proposed food sovereignty and county ordinance to that effect. More of the ordinance is recognizing the unalienable rights for the production and the consumption of locally grown foods, thereby supporting the local food knowledge and the values of family structures and of the local county farms, ranches, and gardens for their production. And due to the criteria of 15 minutes, I don't have time to read the ordinance that we have written. However, having presented the written copy to each of the to the county commissioners and as well as copy for your attorney, I do request the proposal of that ordinance be submitted into the record as if it was read aloud.
Okay.
Sure.
The Snake River Music Gardens we participated last night in the Baker City's community program. And three major issues. With all the public support, it was highly supported from the folks coming in and in the town. Three issues were brought up. The three issues was one, the USDA inspections. Two was the bed and breakfasts in a rural county. And three was how this affects the cities within the county. So I'll go through each of those very quickly, and then if there's any questions, because the ordinance itself, our proposed ordinance is online.
Yes.
And we do have extra copies for folks here in the room that request them. Number one is the USDA inspection for the meat. Now, the way this is written, this does not affect our grass-fed producers that are trying to get US certification to sell their meat outside of Baker County. I made very clear clarification for that because I was working with the grass-fed beef industry, got the first one established in Eugene, Oregon for selling grass-fed beef. We went through a whole lot of paperwork for that. Same thing with out here. We've been trying to get a slaughterhouse here in Baker County,
Right.
which I've given up on that completely. So then the next thing is getting the slaughterhouses recognized to where we can get that. We did get one here just 2 blocks from my house to where the USDA certified them that they were qualified. They have since gone out of business. I mean, the regulations. So that's one of the things that we're dealing with is the burden of regulations, and that's what we're trying to address in the ordinance. The second one was the bed and breakfast. The issue on that one goes all the way back to Clear Creek Bed and Breakfast in Halfway, where we had, and I worked to get their certification for the kitchen. We had to get full USDA certification for the canning, or to be able to can the stuff that you grew there on the property to be sold to the people that were staying in the bed and breakfast to eat. So this deals with all of those issues and all of that. And it doesn't interfere with the requirement of the certification if they choose to sell online or sell out of county. This ordinance will not affect either one of those. So all of that work is not affected. The third one is the cities. In the state of Oregon, the cities have the same legal criteria for ordinances as the county. So an ordinance in the city does not pertain to the county, nor does an ordinance written from the county pertain to the city. However, the county writes an ordinance that could be for everybody outside the county that would be benefit. In this case, would be the restaurants within the city. Every individual city within the county may adopt an ordinance that recognizes the county ordinance, which simplifies both the cost and the clarification for the cities within that county for the food that is produced within that county. So I think we've covered all of those bases. If I haven't, I sure would like anyone with the legal stuff quoted, because this is a culmination of 40 years of plowing through a whole lot of interference with agricultural production and the local ability for the farmer to lawfully eat his own food, which is what we're trying to address. So with that, do the commissioners have any questions or
I wondered in
Sure.
section 2 and definitions, it says processor means any individual who processes or prepares products of the soil or animals for food or drink. Does that include, like your bed and breakfast and restaurants?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, as well as a local, once it's adopted by cities, that was left in that wording that way. so that the local butcher shops that are selling not only the beef, but want to sell chickens or poultry, that want to process, if somebody wants to take their poultry in there to have it processed, that they can have the poultry take into town, process it and take it back home or sell it to their neighbors or whatever is within the county. Yes.
What about, if they take, like I said, poultry or whatever and serve it, in the restaurant, is that included in this?
Within the county, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so it, but none of their food, if they take it into a processor and that process, and then it's sold out of the county, it has to go through the standard state and USDA,
what about,
standard Department of Agriculture and the USDA.
Ohio? What about like a restaurant's inspection? Does that affect that?
No,
Okay.
all restaurant inspections are still under the state and federal. The
Okay.
restaurant inspections are actually under federal commerce clause.
Okay,
So yes, it does not affect the commerce, anything that is covered under the commerce clause at all. No,
okay, all right,
it only affects, as it says, the actual production and the actual processing to be consumed by folks within Baker County. And it will require us to go through, have the county accept it. And then I got to go do this thing all over again with every
Right.
municipality within our county.
Okay.
So it's, this is just the beginning of this.
So I do have a question.
Sure.
On the restaurants, you're saying under the commerce.
Yes.
deal, Restaurants still subject to inspection.
Yes,
That doesn't mean that food is
No.
subject to inspection under your.
no, just, the restaurant, during the restaurant inspections right now, let's take the truck stop, for example. Their inspections, their health inspections of the, does
just
not,
Cleanliness of the
it-
restaurant.
right, deals with the cleanliness and the handling of the dishes and the handling of the food, the way it's cooked, temperature, cooking, and so on. Not where the food comes from or how it's distributed. And again, using the truck stop as an example, this will not affect them until the city adopts an ordinance to accept
Exactly.
this ordinance.
Yeah, I think. we
For
can do
them.
that part.
okay.
So what about lawsuits against restaurants?
That's also clarified in there that the lawsuits is requirement of between contractors, which clarifies the producer. And in the restaurant, in the case of the restaurant is processing the food to the consumer, not selling the food itself. So the contract, and it says right in there, the fact of the brochure that, and the posting, laminated posting of the ordinance for the criteria that the people that are eating the localized food recognize that it is locally produced food under those conditions. This does not interfere with the third-party certification, such as Oregon Tilth certification for local certification. We've had folks that have gone through that whole process with the State Department of Agriculture, getting the Oregon Tilth and then not being able to sell their food locally and thought that they could.
What concerns me, Art, is and this is just on vegetables and stuff.
Sure.
the chemicals that can be on vegetables that don't get washed off, and the restaurant actually fails to make sure it's clean. Maybe human waste was used on the farm.
Do you know farmers around here that are using human?
No, I don't, but that doesn't prevent it from happening under this type of
Again,
ordinance.
this deals with if that does happen, we have under our laws within the state of Oregon and the county rights of the court to address. If you turn to page 8 on that, go ahead, turn to the last page.
Not numbers, but the last page you said.
Yeah, the very last page.
Okay.
There at the top, that section. I believe that would cover that question. Hand me one of those, just make sure I know.
What it says Baker County, Oregon may enforce provisions of this ordinance through seeking equitable relief from a court of competent jurisdiction.
Right, right.
Any individual citizen or Baker County, Oregon shall have standing to vindicate any rights secured by the ordinance which may have been violated or which are threatened with violation and may seek relief both in the form of injunctive or compensatory relief from a court of competent jurisdiction. Okay. What I see here is with this type of ordinance, it's designed to circumvent the laws of the
No.
federal government and the state of Oregon.
No.
And
No,
Anyway,
it is actually
food
designed to
protection-
hold
Food
them.
protection is extremely important
Yes,
for our citizens, and there's a lot of citizens that do not have the ability to make that distinction because they're impaired or something, you know, and not able to understand that there could be some harmful chemicals or whatever on their food, or it hasn't been inspected properly and stuff like that. Maybe there's been, maybe some meat is set out for a long time and then sold to the restaurant, and it gets sold or at the restaurant. And so that everybody gets sick or something. And I can just see.
so if you
all
read
over
that
the
thing,
place.
that hypothetical that you're making is contrary to our historical way of
I know we've got very
for a rule.
good farmers and ranchers, and I know that. But that doesn't mean that it could not happen. And that's what I'm saying is.
Again, I'm going back to the fact that the hyperbole that you're presenting is what could happen or what might happen rather than what has happened. In other words, you're saying the farmer and the producer is now guilty until he proves that he hasn't done anything. And I'm saying, as long as he's doing it, and even though he has a certification, then you got to show that he has done negligence. We have negligent laws. If he is negligent, if a farmer or producer or restaurant owner is negligent, which is what you're describing as negligence, we have recourse under our law of the state and county and cities. We all have that recourse. But the state that to prevent potential puts such a burden on the industry as a whole that they cannot meet. And that's why our family farm structure is completely collapsing within this country, because they cannot compete against the corporate, which is sterilizing and degrading our ability to feed ourselves. So that's what this ordinance is towards our local ability to feed ourselves when the commerce hits the fan and we can't buy anything and the shelves are empty in Safeway and Albertsons. We are still able to go out and buy and eat, and our restaurants can still serve our senior citizens within our urban areas. We have an aging population here, of which I am one of the members of as well. And looking at what I have seen and the number of ranches and stuff that has decreased, how many dairies do we have left in this county? How many meat packing houses do we have left in this county? How many ranches have been consolidated from 40 head of cattle to 600 head of cattle to now they have over 1,000 head of cattle? I mean, that's not saving this community's potential to produce for in the future or viability. And that's what this ordinance is aimed towards. And that's why
I'm not-
to have a longer hearing for discussions is,
Yeah, can I
is
say something
appropriate.
here? I'm not arguing the point that we are severely overregulated. I agree completely. This, the way you're presenting it though, I cannot support. And so, anyway. that's all I'm
On
gonna
what
say.
the legal basis under section 4, is there anything wrong in the section 4? Because that shows the laws that we're operating under, or that this ordinance does not create any new law. It just puts the state and feds on notice that they have exceeded their jurisdiction over the production within the rural communities.
I had a question though. All establishments shall prominently display the Baker County Farm to Table logo on the door of their establishment.
Yes,
All menus, all menu items with farm to food, from farm to table foods
yes.
must be clearly marked. Who picks up
Yes.
the tab to do that?
The restaurant owner themselves,
If they
Yeah.
choose to.
if
serve that.
they choose to participate in selling localized food. The bed and breakfast, they already are doing that.
Sure.
And that's where that came from, because that way, that would be part of their package that they have on their bed and breakfast. They're actually, that was requested from them to ensure that.
I have a question.
Yes,
So farmers markets right now, Baker
Yes.
halfway.
yes,
I don't know if Richland has a farmer's market. I think it's Baker and Halfway, isn't it,
yes,
right now?
right
So
now.
are those foods inspected? Like the lettuce, the greens, the vegetables, things like that that are sold there? Do you know that? Does anybody know that?
They're not, but they're supposed to be. Well,
They're under that.
they're
inspection.
under the requirement.
Yeah.
But the state, we don't have enough inspectors in the state to cover that. So this is actually helping the state out because not only are ours, but the Liberated Salads in Eugene where they've run into that same problem with there's not enough inspectors for the food inspector. When they get one that goes through, he walks through and he just his book gets emptied out of citations within 10 minutes. I mean, he just,
Sure.
nobody's gotten inspections because they don't have the staff and nobody's paying for the permit
Mhm.
because the state's raised the permits because nobody's buying the permits. So there's a catch-22 issue there.
Okay.
And we've actually had the solids and the food in Eugene has been tested and has higher nutritional value than the stuff that they buy from the major store brands
Oh,
in the Eugene area.
yeah, I don't
So,
doubt that.
Uh,
I usually don't worry if I go to a farmer's
Yeah.
market and I get corn and vegetables or whatever. I imagine I would like to be able to get whole milk so that I can make
Right.
cheese. And.
Right, whole milk's another one
And,
yeah,
and I get eggs from my friend who has chickens,
Yeah.
and I give her compost. So
yeah,
I can see this, and I like the idea that the restaurants don't have to, I mean, they don't have to participate. The stores don't have to participate. If Baker Food Co-op
right.
decides that they want to carry some of it, instead of having it come in from Grasmick or wherever,
So,
then,
in other words, that's why, as he was asking about the signs and stuff, the
Mhm.
people that do participate,
it would be
buying it.
noticed.
they have to let the public know
Right.
that they are participating, and that may take a part of yours as well, is that there's an educational process that's going to be required once this is passed to educate the public so that they know what they are eating again, and it brings folks back more to consuming other foods. The fact that our locally grown foods are not GMO
Right.
foods. We're growing non-GMO, we're growing foods that use animal waste as fertilizer, and so on and so forth, for the actual, the nutritional value of our food and the flavors that comes, that it's flavorful to what we used to have when I was a kid, to get
Right.
that flavor back instead of eating cardboard.
Well, right now I have huckleberries going in the freeze dryer, and any of the food that my baby grandson starts eating is going to come out of our house,
right.
and knowing where that's from.
Right, so this is with it, see, one of the other things that Snake River Music Garden is supporting is the reintroduction of the hemp seed as a food crop for not only humans, but for livestock. Right now, we only got it approved for horses. We're the only country in the world that does not have it approved for human consumption. I mean, it's a viable grain. Pre-World War II, it was a viable grain here. Yeah, up until the end of World War II, it was a crop that was planted. It has been regulated out of production.
It is a crop here in the county, though. Aren't some people growing hemp? Here in the county?
Not, there's no hemp registered this
Okay.
year. There's no acreage for growing hemp
Not this
seed
year.
or
Okay.
fiber in Baker County.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the work that you did on this. I thought that I know that you that this is very thorough and that you've looked at everything, like you said, with your application for the music garden. It was you're very thorough in
Well,
your
yeah.
paperwork.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying that any questions, like I said, you bring up very good points on those. So any clarification on that wording, please.
And we we have to take it
Right.
to our
Oh, yes.
council, to our
Yes.
county council. So
Yes,
this is a good conversation,
Yes.
and I did go into the website after you
Yes.
visited us last time and
that's why I just
looked
wanted to
at
make
this,
sure
and I
that,
know that others have looked at it and we've talked about it and all of that. So I think we're kind of running over. So
Yes.
I
And we still need to open it up for public comment.
yeah,
too.
we'll open it up for public comments. Thank you, Art.
Um, Well, you've got your hand up. Whoever, we didn't do a sign up list.
And you
so-
can, oh, you
Oh,
have to
go
go
ahead.
to you have to go up to the podium first. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Well, I'm just gonna say, when it comes to the chemicals on the food, our government's already doing that. They're washing our chicken with bleach. They're starting to give mRNA shots to the cattle and the pigs and the chickens. And they got them, chickens are locked up in a coop and they're piled on top of each other. They're feeding them so much hormones that their legs break because they can't hold their weight. And so now they're sitting in their own feces. And so our government's already poisoning us.
Yeah.
I think whatever our farmers can do locally will be far better than our government will ever be able to do.
I agree.
Agree with you on that.
I agree.
So I buy, my family buys from farmers markets and also the food stands. And I buy meat from various ranches around Baker County. And so
You should be okay with this ordinance.
same thing with eggs, have eggs, but I don't get milk. So.
All right, come on up.
So thanks again, Curtis Martin, North Powder, Oregon. So briefly on this, just a couple of points that I think are really intriguing. I would really encourage the commissioners to scrutinize this. And I think it really bears the importance of the county council to really dig into this. Bruce, to your concerns or my concerns, food safety has always been the top of the list when I've been promoting return of local processing of beef and meat. It's highly concerning. But actually, the concerns that you expressed today can occur right now. I mean, there's nothing that there's no that close of scrutiny of the chemicals until there becomes a problem that they're scrutinized and found out. So your concerns could happen right now. I mean, that's a given.
And they do.
Yes, and they do. And so I'd like to speak as a beef producer and rancher that this could be a very viable economic opportunity to get our quality product to the consumer and have truth in labeling, that it's Baker County grown, it's raised, harvested and processed here. And actually what Art it occurred to me as I was listening to his presentation, what we're talking about is what we had 50 years ago here. Exactly. And the monopolization of all of of so many of our societal instruments is so apparent. And this is a step to get back to locally grown, locally produced. And then also the thing that really intrigues me that I'm a very big proponent of is local representation of authority of our county.
Mhm.
This speaks directly to that. I mean, of course, food safety and the the priority of importance to our consumer is there, but there will be never a closer linkage than when the consumer knows me, the guy that grew their beef. You can rest assured that it's going to be a quality product. It's not going to have any health concerns. The processor, the person that eats that is going to know who that was. And I can tell you, if it's a bad product, it's going to lose a customer. So this actually reinforces food safety, the food chain viability. I think this has all kinds of positive proponents to it. I would be willing to be participating on a work group or an advisory group that would work with the council or whomever. But I know that we've got to cross the legal hurdles. But in all reality, this deserves very intense attention and priority from the county, from you three, and to do it justice, that needs to be that way. So
Curtis, was in favor of the bill that you were trying to pass. And we had talked about if we get local inspection of beef here and then the restaurants wanted to advertise that they, FDA approved, locally raised, would do you think that this would work against?
well,
what
not at all.
you're-
No, this document would not hinder the USDA nor, and I don't think Art touched on this, but there's also a food safety or Oregon meat inspection program that was just rejuvenated a little over a year ago. And neither one of those institutions or mechanisms for food safety or inspection, this ordinance would not inhibit that whatsoever. It would not overrule it would be great, but as Art mentioned, the human resource, the lack of human resource for the inspection part of not only the USDA is very hard, as we're witnessing now with our mail US Postal Service. The same thing is occurring everywhere, nor would it inhibit the Oregon food inspection program that's just been recently reenacted.
Because section 5 says producers or processors of local foods in Baker County, Oregon are exempt from licensure and inspection, provided that the transaction is only between the producer or processor and a patron when the food is sold at home for home consumption. So
So the processor could be the restaurant.
Right.
And
But I guess, Shane, I'd like to address that directly. It doesn't inhibit or preclude the processor or anyone going ahead if they so choose to go the normal or the route that's there now.
Right.
It just gives another option to locally processed or produced and processed food to be delivered to the local community. I think this is me. I mean, I want to scrutinize it further. I'm very glad that I was able to listen to Arthur's really good presentation and went into fair and into detail. To me, this doesn't inhibit anything that's in existence right now as far as food safety or USDA inspections, which is great. But I tell you what, we've got an abundance of quality product that is happening to go into the monopolized, manipulated market of and I'm speaking directly here to the meat processing of the meat packing cartel in Tyson. We have been vertically integrated in the Northwest for 30 years. It's been so long since we've had a competitive market that we don't even know what that means. So this would add a very positive possible economic benefit to the farm gate value of not only cattle, but other things here. And also the consumer would actually really know who their grower was and how it was processed and how it got to them.
So Curtis, in your industry, there's, you know what I'm talking about, out North Powder, there's
Beef Northwest,
partnerships.
right?
Beef Northwest, stuff like that do all of the things that we like local ranchers to do. In other words, raise their cattle, grass-fed beef, no extra chemicals, that kind of stuff. And they have their own certification process, I think, and on that. And so the more of that goes on, I think the better. And I think everybody's in favor of that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm in favor of it, and I'm in favor of
Bruce,
locally grown, and I
yeah.
always have liked that. It's much
But
better for
specifically,
you.
right, but specifically
But
to
I
your
have dug
point,
into this, and I think it needs tweaked a lot.
well, that's why the scrutiny of the
And that's
council,
what
and
I'm
that would be,
saying.
and I as a producer, but speaking to your point about country natural beef or Painted Hills, the process there again, we're looking at a choke point of no processing. There's two processors, main processors in the Northwest, none in Oregon.
Right.
Absolutely none of major consequence in Oregon. So all of our product that's raised here has to be shipped to Washington and go through that process. And once it gets into that process, it's part of the vertically integrated chain that is monopolized. I have no problem with ranchers that I know personally that are involved in country natural beef. It's a niche market and it's great. But this is not going to inhibit that. It's not going to intrude upon that, but it's going to give it's going to return to a competitive market that we have not seen, that we desperately need for the family or farm and ranch to stay in existence economically. Because even now, with cattle prices doubled from what they were 12 months ago, guess what? The input costs have tripled. And so there's no economic benefit of getting ranchers are being able to handle more dollars, but it's costing them more to run their operations. So this is a slight movement toward competitive market that would open it up and be more transparent for everyone. So I agree that there may be some hiccups, there may be some corrections that may be needed to be done, but it absolutely deserves the dedication and intense review of the proper legal, the county council. And there again, I would be willing, just because I've got one of my kids right here in this room that depend heavily on the cattle market. And that's what I'm passionate about. It's not for myself, it's for my kids and my grandkids, that they be able to be farmers and ranchers in Baker County and have a quality of life. So I've taken up too much time. Okay.
I wanted to thank you for reviewing this when I gave it to you last week and getting back to me with the positive review. And the bottom line is that the USDA, all of those foods are still going to be available. They're not going to go away. People will still have the choice. This just gives them a choice of the whole foods that are coming from our county. And it would be, you and I have talked extensively about the beef harvesting kill plant here in town, and I'm still, we're still on it. But I know that we enjoyed, 6 of us enjoyed beef from your house the other night, and it was excellent. I was not worried about eating it.
Yeah.
and you ate the huckleberries that I picked in that cake. So
I didn't need them, but I sure enjoyed them. Yeah, so that was very good.
So
Yes.
no, I appreciate your attention to this, and I would definitely like to keep you involved in this process, especially where you come from the beef ranching side.
I think and this is my final comment, I think there's all kinds of opportunity here. Not that there isn't some things that need to be clarified and maybe corrected.
Okay.
But this definitely has many venues, many opportunities for advancement.
Okay.
So
Thank
thanks.
you.
Danica.
I'm Danica Sinram, and I helped, I'm on the group that helped bring this to fruition. The one thing I would like to bring up that hasn't been brought up yet is that there are several counties in Maine that we modeled this after what's already being done in counties across, in especially Maine, and has been happening for a few years now. So it's not like super, revolutionary, not already tested. And also that the state of Wyoming not going as far as this ordinance does. This ordinance is more like the main one, but many of the things that we're bringing up here is also being done statewide in Wyoming. So I just wanted to kind of say that this is not, radical. And thank you for, also that the food sold in the supermarket is full of chemicals. And if you'd like to know how many and how much, you can go to Environmental Working Group and look at their breakdown of the foods they test that are in the market. So I have to go to work for a consult.
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
You bring up the food stores. I agree with you. We've all seen in Safeway or Albertson, wherever you go, all of a sudden lettuce gets pulled off because it's got whatever on it someplace. Remove it from the shelves, corn, certain types of melons once in a while, fruits. So it happens all the time. That's what concerns me about some of this. And
But it doesn't force anybody to buy local food. It gives them the option
It does.
as an adult
I
to make
agree.
that
There's a lot of
decision.
Movement in this state to fix a lot of these things, and it's really difficult. And so, Art, I do applaud you for working on this, and I'm not totally
Thank
against
you.
it. Please understand, I'm not totally against it.
Go ahead.
But I am against certain parts of it.
Do we know if that co-op in Meridian, I believe it is, close to the village, is really great food co-op? I think that they sell whole milk and things like that out of that food co-op.
In Idaho.
Yeah,
Idaho is legal to sell raw milk.
Idaho, all of Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, when I lived in Idaho, when I lived in Nissa, I would cross the river and there was a dairy there and there was
Right.
a refrigerator on the porch. You put the money in the little Tupperware and take your gallon.
Right.
And it was whole milk. That was milk that day or whatever.
I was thinking that it was
Yeah.
over there. Okay.
I was probably contraband across state lines. Yes. Hi, I'm Juliette Hughes and I live in Baker City. And I just wanted to point out that in section 2 in our definitions, farm to table foods means the products provided by any producer or processor. So that would also be a restaurant or a bed and breakfast, establishment within Baker County who desires to supply local eateries with fresh produce and or animal products to be used in the preparation of meals and other edible products to be consumed by individuals other than the purchaser of the ingredient. And this is the part that I wanted to point out. Produced without toxic chemical inputs or genetic alteration, no GMOs, not to include selective breeding practices. So in order to be a farm to table food, you would have to pass basically not certify, but you would have to state that your products are being produced in a way that doesn't have the toxic chemical inputs. You didn't put your chicken in a bleach bath before you served it to us. You didn't put Roundup on your wheat to use it as a desiccant 3 days before harvest. You didn't do any of these things that are USDA and FDA mandated. So, it's not to skirt any laws, it's to return to where we have always been. In my opinion, if you look around, God gave us this amazing universe that is just full of abundance. This whole idea that money doesn't grow on trees, complete lie, total lie. Grows on apple tree, grapevines and berry bushes and in pastures and all over the place. And the way that that cycle goes, as you know, I'm the food forest person. And a lot of that permaculture is a symbiotic system, and you take one aspect of that system out and you create havoc. So like in the permaculture world, you use your animal product to service your vegetables and your, so, you know, to have chickens is not just for their eggs and their meat, but also for their manure that then you use to in your compost for your vegetables that then give you more minerals and a much better nutritional profile. And it also builds soil, which soil is the immune system of the earth, and it basically protects the earth. And, you know, we're stripping that. And so this is all part of returning to that original natural state of being that we have had taken from us by the USDA and the FDA.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm Liz Thompson from Baker City, and I just want to point out, the United States, every other country outlaws the chemicals that we still allow in and on our food. So where's the fear of local food? I don't get it, but thank you.
Thank you. Well, I say these guys have done a lot of work on it. Let's send it to, oh, go ahead.
And
Lindy Ann Sappington, Arthur's wife, local to Baker City. I just wanted to comment that this ordinance will create an economic boon for Baker County because we already have many, many visitors who come here and enjoy the culture, the food, the music. And when people go back to Portland or wherever they came from and they say, wow, we had a piece of beef in Baker County and I've never tasted anything like that in my life because it's got carotene in it, because it's fresh, because it came directly from the rancher who cares about what he's doing. And this will go across the board for all the foods that we'll be serving in our B&Bs and our restaurants. This will put Baker County on the map in a very, very positive way. Just free the producers, free the processors to do what they do naturally, and it will have a tremendous effect on our tourism as well as our ability to feed ourselves.
thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody else or anybody online? Okay. Now I was going to say, let's table this for now and send the proposal to legal counsel and
Yes.
get a recommendation from Kim and then we'll bring it back up.
Yep.
All right.
Move forward.
Next up, road vehicle purchase. All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Sorry for the delay.
That's right. How you guys doing?
Good.
So the road department is looking to purchase 3 pickups. We haven't bought any new pickups since 2018. Currently have 14 pickups. Out of those 14, the 2 in 2018 are the only ones with less than 100,000 on them. Purchase is over $5,000, so we need your guys' approval.
Okay. I told Noodle today that would probably go ahead and go with the little electric boards for you guys.
Yeah, they'd work out good.
So how many you're getting rid of 3 as well, or?
We're probably only gonna get rid of 1 or 2, because currently we have a guy in Halfway that doesn't have a pickup.
Okay,
And then it's kind of nice to have a spare, because when we're flagging, we have temporary help, so an extra rig will help.
okay.
So some of the high mileage ones would work, you know.
Are you-
for occasional use.
The big one looks like you're gonna use for plowing. No? Okay. Well, I thought I read
We're
in,
getting 3 different ones. One's a diesel, single
Yeah.
cab long box. That one's going to Unity. Part of the reason there is currently we're paying $1 a gallon more for gas.
oh,
locally.
right.
So if we get him a diesel, he can fill up out of the slip tank, save us some money. And It also would come in handy pulling our skid steer with.
And just keep it out of the Unity, just based out there.
Yep.
Okay. And who is that out there?
That's Aaron.
It is Aaron,
Yeah.
okay. So it looks like you got the best deal here in town. Baker City
Yeah,
Auto
surprisingly.
Ranch. Yeah,
They treated us very well.
yeah.
On the
Baker City Chevrolet did not respond, huh?
Nope.
That's
Apparently they
crazy.
weren't.
2024 3500 tradesman, regular cab, 4x4. They're bringing it with heavy duty snow plow prep group.
I think that's just because we're putting the gooseneck hitch and stuff in it from the factory, so that's probably part of that package is all. But yeah, it won't have,
Okay.
there's no snow plow on it.
Okay.
Okay. I put a plow on the front of it. Plow dually.
Well,
You wouldn't plow dually. I know, that's what.
Dually gets narrower every year, so I mean.
I talked to Russ about that.
Yeah, it looks all right to me. You guys do a good job with the budget and so far looks like you're holding your own, so. It's all right with me. What do you guys think?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the road department's vehicle purchase approval with Baker City Auto Ranch for a combined cost for 3 pickups, $161,130.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anybody online? All right, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Goes.
Thanks, Ryan.
Go spend some money. Thanks. All right, Baker County Law Enforcement Collective Bargaining Agreement and MOU.
Is that you?
Yeah. Yeah, come on up.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys.
It seemed like a pretty good process to me, so we can.
We, we still have some things to take care of.
Yeah.
We still have a little ways to go. Of course, we're trying to fill the holes that we have currently.
Right. Right.
And that's proving to be a little more difficult than anticipated. Everywhere that I've researched this, compensation is a big thing
Mhm.
as far as, the next generation of employees. It's a little more complex than just having an opening and filling a slot.
Are you still down 2?
We're still down several between
More than two?
dispatch and corrections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a fight to get applicants right now.
Sure.
We're working on it though. There's things in progress to help that out.
Okay.
Heidi, do you have anything on this that
No,
beyond?
just, you probably saw your staff report there. So
Yes.
this is just an agreement dating back to July 1st of 2022 through June 30th of 25 is when it'll expire. And then there's also the MOU, which is a little bit to what Rich is talking to as far as there just being a major staffing shortage in that when we have one person on duty, there's additional pay per hour for that person who's the only person on the floor or the only person at dispatch.
Right.
Well. Oh, yeah, it's better if you come up to the mic so we can. So people online can hear.
He's
Seems
got it.
like whenever I go somewhere, I'm dominating. I apologize for that. But so this is a very important, I'm not speaking to this specific issue. I'm speaking to the sheriff's department in general. That beef producers, we really are. Okay, so the recent wolf depredations continue. They're not going away. And we cannot rely on ODF&W to recognize what's going on out here.
Right.
These positions that are so critical and, from my perspective, my chief, my most important law enforcement entity is the Baker is our county sheriff. And so I think it's kind of goes along with this food sovereignty. We need to reemphasize how important our county sheriff is, not only in lawful, making sure that illegal activity is being controlled and we're being protected, but also for the cattle industry. That is not only the cattle industry. I was visiting with Kurt Jacobs Saturday at the Shrine breakfast. The sheep, I mean, he's losing, he told me that day that they're losing a ram every week to wolf depredation, and it's ignored. I mean, it's an absolute tragedy with all the other burdens of ranching and all of that. And then you have these introduced top of the line predators that are complicating and making, not only economic impact severely, but the emotional impact. I've personally witnessed the change in personalities of people that have had to put up with this crap. So again, I want to emphasize the importance of our county sheriff. I guess I would ask, do you have an advisory? Do you have an advisory group that you lean on a little bit to help you and make this public, or make it more known what your needs are?
I would have to send you to Sheriff Ash himself for a lot of that kind of stuff. We do have people that are constantly working to minimize any sort of problems that we do have, with staffing levels or, things like
Right.
that.
So I guess the
as
reason,
far as like committees for like the wolf and thing, I really couldn't comment on that because I'm kind of outside of that wheelhouse.
I guess what I'd like to do is put a larger megaphone, a larger voice. And I think sometimes advisory committees don't have any authority, but they can certainly help get that to the community. This is a desperate need, and make the more known things are, the better actions you'll have and better support. So I'm all for assisting the sheriff's department in filling these positions and even adding to them, because there's a lot of country out there that is not, you just don't have the human resources to do it. So I, as a producer and a community member, really would would encourage better, more public recognition of the sheriff's department and what you need. So thank you.
If you know anybody, I know you've got a pretty good handle on the community, anybody that you could encourage.
Yeah, I want to bring this up with the Baker County Livestock
If they get tired
Association.
of punching
Yeah.
cattle and they want to.
Oh, yeah. Punch
They want
something
to
else.
come. Well, I wasn't going to say that,
Might be a good
but
way to take out our frustrations.
And if you
No,
know people looking for a good career, please send them our way.
No, well, law enforcement, you guys are the first responders, but there's so many, I think it's just so many times people that are in the community just take it for granted. Well, we found out where that's gotten us into the current cataclysmic state that our old country is in. So
yeah.
it's time that citizens got aware and more
In the
engaged.
last 5 years, law enforcement's taken a beating.
Yeah.
Which kind of puts a stigma to working for
Right.
that
Well,
environment.
and
trying to overcome that.
I can guarantee the cattle industry is standing full support behind you guys, and we
It's
want to,
appreciated.
help be a broadcast. We need to get that out there, that these loons and anarchists are not what we are. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Curtis, I think I'll kind of echo that. I think we're all on the same page here. And so you're kind of preaching to the choir. We know full well how important the sheriff's department is to Baker County. And
think if there's any way that we can, magnify that.
Right,
Papers,
right.
social media, anything like that.
we,
Did the
Yeah.
sheriff department have a liaison or a table or place at the table with wolf deprivation committee?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
usually,
thought
but
so.
Ash sits in on
I thought
those.
so.
The sheriff is usually very heavily
Yes.
involved.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yes.
they're heavily.
Because I'm
involved in that.
getting like my deprivation reports, he kind of sends me a text or an email kind of before I get the official
Sure,
word through. So
sure.
I appreciate that. And it lets me know what's going on quickly, up to date. So I appreciate that. I wanted to say, I really appreciated going through this process with you guys. And
I appreciate it as well.
Yeah.
It allowed me to kind of talk about the hazards and dangers that
Right.
the levels that we're at now. I appreciated that opportunity to
Mhm.
speak about that, which conveys a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
and then just working together has been fantastic. And I
It's, yeah,
appreciate
it's been
that.
really good. When both of us can come together and show where we're at, then we can come to the best conclusion and keep our people safe and,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yep.
our citizen people and our staff people.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Wait,
So you need a motion?
sure.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the Baker County and Baker County Law Enforcement Collective Bargaining Agreement and the MOU between Baker County and the Law Enforcement Association as well.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anybody online? All right, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 That adequate?
Motion carries.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to documents to be signed. First up, we have order number 2023-139 designating a newspaper for publication of the annual foreclosure of the tax liens as shown by Baker County foreclosure list.
So Heidi, I have a question here. If we designated Baker County Herald as the paper of record, we have to do this one too?
Yes, or it's just part of their process of what they do in the tax office.
Okay.
Specifically to the
Yeah,
tax
for
office.
foreclosures.
I'll make a motion to approve order number 2023-139 designating a newspaper for publication. Do I need to list the Baker City Herald then? Okay, designated Baker City Herald for publication of the annual foreclosure of the tax liens as shown on the Baker County foreclosure list.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I had a question. Do we, when we do this, we have to designate one, but do we still publish that in like any of the other newspapers?
They could if they wanted to, but by designating the Herald, that's where they're going to post all of their.
For sure, yeah.
But if they wanted to do more, they can. It
Okay.
doesn't prevent them.
That's what I thought. Okay, sounds good to me. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. All right, we have order number 2023-140 appointing a member to the Baker County Fair Board.
To the what?
Fair Board.
Oh, okay. I see.
Did I?
Chris Stocks.
Yeah.
Okay. Step down.
No,
Oh, it's
Johnson.
appointing Chris Stocks
Yeah.
because Mark Johnson stepped down.
wait here, Mark Johnson resigned from the Fair Board on April 10th, 2023. The vacancy was advertised on May 22nd, 2023, with an application deadline of June 5th, 2023. Nathaniel Garrick, Kathleen Parker, and Chris Stock submitted applications. The Fair Board has reviewed the applications and recommends appointing Chris Stocks to the vacant Fair Board position. Fair Board would like to appoint Nathaniel Garrick and Kathleen Parker to the Fair Board Advisory Committee.
Mm,
They both agreed to serving on the advisory committee. Vacancies for the Fair Board Advisory Committee were advertised on July 26, 2023, with an application deadline of August 11th, 2023, to allow anyone interested to apply. Well, we can't do that today, so we'll have to wait till this closes before we make a
But we can
motion.
appoint the one.
Yeah. So,
Ready for it?
yeah. Why?
because it's still open, but they've
Right.
asked for August 2nd for us to approve today.
For
For
order number
yeah,
23. -140. And to appoint the one to the Fair Board, but the advisory committee, we have to hold off on.
Okay,
Because it's the application period still. open.
August 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint Chris Stocks as requested by the Fair Board to the Baker County Fair Board for a term set to expire May 1st, 2025, and approve order number 2023-140.
Is the whole order part of that advisory committee? So would the order number change?
So when the deadline closes on the fair advisory
Mhm.
notice, there will be a separate order, and then anybody to be considered for fair advisory will be brought forward along with the two that are mentioned here, Garrick and Parker.
With a different order number?
With a different order number.
Okay,
Yep, so it'll be, it's a totally different committee.
okay. I just wanted to clarify. Yeah,
So this
exemption,
would be just appointing Chris Stokes.
exemption of the advisory committee appointment. I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any online? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
So it would have been better if they had just left out the
I'm just
advisory
barely,
committee people, because it just muddied the water. for
I
all
just
of us.
barely,
Well,
Right.
I just,
The reason why is because all three of them applied to be on the fair board.
yeah,
And so we have to include all three of them because even though the fair board is recommending it, the commissioners are the ones that appoint. So it's up to you guys to
Right.
decide if you wanted somebody else on there.
I get that point, but the other point is it says that they would like to appoint these two to the advisory committee. If they would have left that portion out, we would have been okay.
Correct.
That's what I was referring to.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. We still did it down there.
We got it in the end.
all right, you're up. Ratification of documents, financial report.
Commissioner Nichols.
Okay, so the commissioners have reviewed and approved financial report, and but we have to certify everybody's ratify everybody's initials and signatures on these reports. So I'll make a motion that we ratify the signatures of the commissioners on accounts payable and accounts payable reports C32, C31, and C35. And also on payroll and payroll accounts payable reports C94 and C95, and other financial reports, which would include June 2023 treasurer's financial report.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'm seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. They all look good to me. All right, I guess we're on to commissioner update and comparison of calendars.
Do you want me to start with my update?
Sure.
Okay, the Blue Mountain Forest Plan revision has gone into the Federal Register. It was announced on Monday,
Okay.
July 31st. So it is on there. If you get onto the Federal Register and you just put in Blue Mountain Forest Plan revision, it'll come up. And then you confirm with that date of 7/31 and review it. It's 4 actual pages. So if you wanted to take a look at that order, it's just basically saying, yes, that we're creating the plan
Oh,
now. So that process has started. And I'm wondering if you guys saw this from Jeff Merkley's office. Announces a committee passage of major investment for Oregon to bolster wildfire resiliency, modernize water infrastructure, and fight climate chaos under his chairmanship. And on page 3 of 7, the city, this is the only thing that I saw for Baker County in this specifically, besides other federal you know, that could apply here and there, you know, on the force and things like that. But 1.365 million for the city of Sumter to install a new water transmission main line and install modern water meters at every connection. Sumter's current transmission line from the 1970s is made of asbestos cement and is failing with frequent leaks. Without upgrades, a major break of this transmission main is likely. So I just thought that was interesting that
Good thing.
Sumter is going to be getting that boost. And Eastern Oregon Summit is Thursday and Friday. Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, the 3rd and the 4th.
Okay.
So I did not sign up. I
can't sign up either, so go ahead.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I just wanted to just remind you guys, if you do have a chance to get over there, I know that Markley or Finley and Owens are going to be there at certain points.
Okay.
So I don't know which day exactly, but
I mentioned before that I could not go because it's my anniversary, and so anyway, everybody took pity on me and said,
Okay, are you gonna try to go then? or not?
I can't.
Oh, I have a interview that I have to do this afternoon, but unless something comes up that I don't know about, I might try to do it.
You can
should go.
specifically look, you can go into Eastern Oregon Summit 2023, bring up the agenda, and there is a portion that is housing.
Yeah,
There's a portion that's forest. There's, I mean, like, so if you were to target what you're working on,
Yeah.
I think that would be to your advantage on
Okay.
You
that.
can
part.
also
I'm-
participate online too, if you wanted to.
sure. Okay.
But
I
it's
thought-
better to be in person.
I know. I thought that maybe I could get some of it online. I'm still confused on the $50 per session because I thought that Andara said that Eastern Oregon County Association had that and they had to do it through Margaret, or it's some, I don't know. I was confused on that whole thing of, do we sign up and pay through there, or what, you know, how do we do that? So. And I looked at it again the other day, Monday, and I still,
You can still go and show up and pay right there if you need to.
sure.
And so that happened to me last year. I went over and
Oh, okay.
couldn't get the pay taken care of, and so I paid for it when I got there.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
I'll
Anyway.
just tell them to put it on your tab.
yeah, go ahead. And so it's you meet a lot of people that you wouldn't meet otherwise. and
Right.
So it's a really good conversation there. They've got some good speakers and stuff.
And Power Eastern Oregon is
September 20th. And then Klamath Falls happens that same week.
Right. My
So,
daughters do that week, so.
and I plan on doing Power Eastern Oregon. I don't know if you were looking at Klamath Falls possibly. So I
So
thought that we
we'll
could
see
kind
how
of
it
cover
goes.
between the
That'll-
two.
We'll
And
see what happens. All
and-
of these, I may have to pay at the door on everyone.
yeah, I was also thinking that it would be maybe an advantage for Erin to join me at Power Eastern Oregon, just so that she
Oh,
gets the advantage
yeah.
of being there and seeing what all it's about and, you know.
Oh, that's a
um,
good idea. You should.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking on
Yeah.
that. So I think that's all of my, let me see, today's the second, my updates. There is a Willow Whitman National Forest open house, August 10th in Halfway, and it has to do with a huge sale that's, timber sale
Oh,
that
okay.
is going on, and it's 5 to 7 PM at the Lions Club, and I'm not sure exactly where that is, but I'll find it. And so I will be out there on the 10th. And yeah, and then it's just normal meetings and committees and things like that that we're
So
going
when you
through.
said-
Sometime in August, what's that?
So it's in halfway.
It is in Halfway at the Lions Club, August 10th, 5 PM.
Just drive down the main street and keep driving and then look to your left and you'll see it.
To see the Lions Club. Okay.
So you had Bruce and I excited when you said sale at the Lions Club, but it's a timber sale.
It's a timber sale.
So no tractors or fishing rods?
No, no. It's it's
Just
a
trees.
timber sale for the Willow Women. The Willow
Alright.
Women National Forest is meeting at the Lions Club. So,
It's not as
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, and then I know that we do the range rider, the rest of a grant that we have with the Wolf Committee is deadline at the end of this month. We put a deadline of the 25th, and we will be meeting and making sure that those funds are spent before we lose
Yeah.
them the end of August. And this
And
is
then-
only for range.
And then we're hung up on part of the OWEB for the trailer and we're waiting to hear back on some of that from OWEB.
You're talking the carcass.
The carcass
Right, yeah.
compost.
Yeah. I couldn't think.
Yeah,
I think that will probably be on the agenda for next.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, yesterday there was the quarterly Sage LIT. I came in at 2, it started at 1, it ended at 3. I was able to sit in through the reports of all of the different agencies and everything. So seems like everybody's busy.
Yeah.
Brief comment.
Sure.
So.
You have to go to the, sorry, you've got a new knee, Curtis. Come
I
on.
know, we're under orders to get you some exercise.
sick and tired of Curtis Martin saying. So Curtis Martin again. So on the LIT meeting yesterday, and we were talking about the carcass disposal station, and one thing that I brought up that evidently hadn't occurred to Morgan was that the grant for establishing the physical,
Yeah.
appurtenances there for Baker Sanitary, they will assume ownership of that.
Right, yeah.
So I said right there, I said there should be no carcass fee, drop-off fee initiated by Baker Sanitary. Hell's bells, they're getting, good grief. They're getting $100,000 improvement, capital improvement to their facility. I think that needs to be negotiated. And so Morgan kind of indicated that nobody kind of thought about that, but I think there needs to be some correction about, that ranchers will be willing to do that, but not if they have to pay $40 to get a carcass delivered to them.
Right.
So,
I
and
agree.
I know there was other discussion that other grants could take care of it, but I think Baker Sanitary needs to negotiate a little bit
Okay.
on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah, it makes sense. So, and that is it on my part.
I've been still working on the hospital birthing center closure. We're in daily calls with St. Alphonsus people, and sometimes I believe that we're gonna also have their parent company, Trinity. I believe they may come on the calls. I'm not 100% sure. So it's still kind of a moving target right now, but we're waiting to hear back from the federal nurses, from the Secretary of Health and Human Services. They're going through the legal process of that and seeing if that's something that they can approve. I'm still waiting to hear back from the hospital on whether they will accept the nurses. We sent them a letter last week, and so, still waiting to hear back on that. And like I said, I've got an interview with Boise TV station this afternoon, and I think this week's been kind of quiet on it. We're just waiting for the pieces to come together. Still in contact with Wyden and Merkley's office and the governor's office, just on a
Okay.
check-in. Emergency management and the health department are still working on both medium and long-term, depending on how this thing shakes out, because, we're still working on a 4-week extension, but times we're, working on that, and we're not 100% sure on the federal nurses, so we're trying to be prepared however this turns out.
Okay.
So that's where we're at on the short version, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I've also been behind the scenes hearing about the birthing center. I watch stuff all the time. But let's see, this afternoon I have to go to, Curtis, I don't know whether you're aware, NEODD in a grant.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 1:30. 1:50.
Something like that.
I'll be there all afternoon. It's a retreat to kind of educate the board members on how it works.
Yeah, okay.
And what about that one, right?
I knew that the meeting was coming up, but I wouldn't be able to.
And I kind of figured that.
Yeah, but I did want to go to that retreat because I kind of came into that
Yeah, you came in
kind of
at a
cold.
bad time, cold, and I'm gonna miss that. So anyway, we'll educate you over time, I guess.
I'll be here for the duration, so.
So then, let's see, I'm taking off after that tomorrow, and I'll be back.
But happy anniversary, by the
Thank
way.
you.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget it. You send me a text or something. I gotta get my wife a card. I haven't done a thing yet. So I'll be in trouble if I don't. So Heidi and I attended a broadband meeting yesterday.
Oh, right.
With the state.
Brian McGarrett.
Period, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, we had a meeting and it wasn't really very productive.
Broadband is tough.
It's,
kind of
they're
bear
having the state of Oregon's having a hard time getting staffed up and geared up and all the
Okay.
brochures and stuff printed out and educating people, because I don't think they've had enough staff. They haven't had the time to get everything in place, and so they're not able to articulate what some of the programs really are in their specific areas. They can
Okay.
talk in generalities.
So it's not just me.
No, it's not. just me.
Okay.
And it's not just me.
Okay.
And anyway, we did talk about a lot of things there, but it was just in generalities. There was no real solid
Okay.
substance to it.
Okay.
And so we're still kind of groping in the dark. So they're, and I invited Davis Computers to it. They were very glad to be there. They added to
That's a good idea.
meeting. There's probably going to be another meeting in a couple of weeks about the very same thing. We're probably going to have to bring in the other providers from around the county, invite them to a meeting, or we go see them or something, maybe take a couple of different meetings around the county.
Okay.
With individual
Okay.
people. And anyway, we're all still learning about this program, and we're going to need to hire somebody to kind of help me out here.
So there is a deadline in September
Yeah.
for the grants. It's the, I
The
think
first
it's
phase,
CTAP or something like that. So part of that funding can be used to pay for like a consultant or somebody
Oh, good.
Okay.
to help us figure out everything we don't know and what we need to do and whatnot. But prior to that, Bruce and I had talked about hiring somebody just on an hourly basis, less than the $5,000 to help us get to that point to where we could apply. And then maybe do that application. And then if we're to receive money, then we could go out to bid and actually
For
hire
that
somebody
person.
with that money to actually coordinate the big
Okay.
project of it. So
Okay.
we talked about, again, just hiring somebody to get us to that point and then get those monies to where we could hire a consultant to, go out to bid and get contractors and, do the big project.
And have you thought about that person, just the interim, the beginning person? Have you thought about them being in that industry like Davis or somebody who's involved with that
Yeah.
is involved with that?
And we've kind of
Okay,
bounced that around a little bit. And,
okay.
The other thing that, one of the reasons why I didn't get here till 2 minutes before, because I was over in our finance office. And,
Okay.
checking on the latchkey funds And yes, we did receive those.
Yes.
Second.
Yeah, we are.
And it's in the bank. But Mark and the team basically were going to take that second latchkey funds, and remember there was a priority of what we were going to use those
Yes.
funds for. Well, there was $100,000 for this potential hiring of somebody about
Yes.
broadband. And so I checked to see if that was still there, and nothing's been carved in stone yet.
No, it was just suggestions at that point
And I
of
just
where
wanted
it
to make
needs to
sure
go.
that that was the figure, and I think it was. And I thought, so if we need to hire somebody, we need to find out on the broadband funds on the first phase there, maybe it could be reimbursement expenses, and that might be instead of just the money given out. There's like 187 million, I believe, or 86 million, something like that, to be divided up amongst the counties. And
Oh, at the state level. So, okay, they could be
so,
reimbursed.
that's the first phase that we've got to go through, and that's where we come up with a plan.
Okay.
Our plan.
Okay.
And so I think we need to get on that as quick as we can. So we'll find out, check and see if it's reimbursable by the state if we advance that money first. And so we can maybe speed this up a little bit.
But no matter what, if you hire on a hourly basis right now, it could come out of that's
Right.
already been earmarked for that
Right.
until we get to that grant that
Right.
that
But if
kicks
we can
in.
get it reimbursed back, that's what I
Right.
want to do.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, it
So,
would be very nice, yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather not spend the money and have it gone.
Sure.
If we can get it back.
sure.
Right, yeah.
And, but if we have to wait for them to pass out the money, we might want to move a little slower or something.
Well, we definitely want to get that person by
Yeah,
September so
gotta
that we can
gotta
get
it
that.
started so
I
we
mean,
can
we
put our
definitely need to
applications in, so.
We can't move too slow on that
No,
part.
no, I agree there.
Okay.
So that's what I've been working on too. And,
Okay.
So
Good.
from there, I'm going to be bouncing around a couple of different states.
Okay, sounds good.
And I forgot a couple important things,
Let's do
and
it.
I'm sorry. So this afternoon, I have a CISA active shooter guidance that I'm gonna go online and do from 1:30 to 3 this afternoon. So that if we do have that, I can protect, or whatever.
Oh, thank you.
And I didn't mention
What
What
that.
about me? You
Oh,
said me.
okay, well, you're up in the bell tower. You can
Oh,
actually
alright.
cover everything. So, so we did have an NRAC meeting and it was good. It was a couple hours that it took us to get through everything, probably more than a
I
couple
think we're
hours.
starting to segue.
Oh, gosh, there's a lot of issues right now, but I wanted to let you know that August 15th at 5 PM at OTEC, Oregon DEQ is coming to town.
Right,
Okay,
good.
and that we will have that meeting
Tonight? Or
August 15th.
August 15th.
5 PM at the OTEC, and
Can you
I've
get
got
a
a
calendar invite sent out to us on that.
I could, yep, I could do a calendar invite. And,
Or-
and then I have a flyer that I've been sending out to different cattle women, and I have got to send it to Sage Grouse and to, who was sitting to my right yesterday? Oh, Jeffrey Pettingill wanted it, and BLM and all of that. So, so that is a very important meeting. We hope to pack that conference room at 5 o'clock. So, and then our conversation with Governor Kotek when she was here, and our breakfast and everything was really nice. Did you see the pictures?
I did.
It cracked me up, but I don't know if you noticed, but I tried putting out any natural resource point anytime that I could in our hour and 15 minutes. So
Yeah, you went
I-
through rapid fire.
I was kind of rapid fire. So I feel like I did the best that I could on that.
It was a good meeting. Yeah.
You had better opportunity than I did. I only had 30 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't even see you in any of the pictures for the
Well-
new directions or for BTI or,
I wasn't at the new direction, but I was at BTI.
yeah.
And didn't make one of the top pictures
Oh,
because I was around them or something.
So yeah, I can send that calendar invite. And I do have access to my office again today, so
Oh, good, okay.
get back in there. Okay, that's it, I swear. That's
You can't swear.
just little portion.
Well, yeah, okay. Sounds like we're making good headway on some of this, so
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy.
yeah.
Just real quick, and I don't want to be up, but I just want to compliment Donnie Brewer and Christina, because these are these are major concessions by now.
That was good, and to get them,
They were just wanting to have a visual
Zoom.
computer thing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely no way.
Very much in favor of them coming.
yeah.
Yeah,
If they're gonna try to enforce regulations in the county on a deal like this, they need to show up.
and they need to give us enough time for that. And they did
Right.
give us to the end of August, but we are pushing for longer
Good.
at this point
Good.
because people really need to realize what it's all about. The people of our county need to realize what they're doing.
If it affects our county, they need to
Yep.
be here and presented in
Yep.
person.
Positive, right? We were just talking about it yesterday at the end, but we've got some positive solutions to what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah,
Main thing that we parked on and find by forever is increased storage of water for late season stream flows would alleviate all kinds of
Mhm.
and be so beneficial. So it's not a zero sum game at all. So I think they're gonna be surprised that Baker County has this kind of solution oriented and corrections to what they're assuming is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we are meeting with the paper for an interview on those positive
Okay.
Good, I think
strategy, on the positive
that's good.
strategy and.
Everybody needs educated on that, including me.
Yep, so hopefully it'll be in the paper. Our interview is Monday with the paper because it was in Saturday's paper. They covered it. And we felt that we needed to expand on that a little bit
Yeah.
more so that the community realizes and understands it better than just that Saturday
I was happy
article.
to see that.
I want to emphasize from my perspective how important Donnie Bruin's position is.
Oh, yeah.
Because her and I go way back 20+ years on these issues, her experience and being able to walk that tightrope of agency and private owners and keep minds. She's
And I love it when she says, when she looks at a paper and she said, oh, I wrote that, years ago. So,
anyway. I
yeah,
just
she's in
wanted to-
tune.
That's a very important position.
Yep. She's very valuable.
Well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
That's the easiest part of this whole meeting.